So here's my thing. Here's my thing. The reason why I want to talk about this, I want to kind of approach this from the standpoint of man, woman, husband, wife, and the Obama legacy. So there's some things for me I was a little bit concerned about, right? So I want to play.
No,
I'm,
I'm
I'm
curious to find out what your
I'm looking at
concerns are.
Savita's face. I'm cracking up because her face, she
She's ready for you.
she's
Oh,
locked and loaded.
Kelsey.
She's locked and loaded. All right. So let's get to. I wanna play this clip. I'm sure you guys already saw it, but I want to play this clip. I want to know what you feel about this clip. So for me, there were some things about this clip that I just felt like, I'm not quite comfortable with it. And let me before I even play it, I want to say that the Obamas, what they meant to black people. I don't speak for all black people, but what they meant for black people. I remember when Barack won, and I remember, man, I dropped to my knees when he won because I just, for those of us who are black, man, I mean, we never thought we'd see a black president. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you, it just didn't seem possible. So to see a black president, to have a black president married to a black woman with black kids was a big deal. So for
Yep.
me, I feel like, obviously we know he was president through that time, 2008 to 2016, but after that, there's a legacy. And for me, let me play this clip. Let me see what y'all feel about this, if y'all feel anything.
as they make their way to the rotunda platform. Normally, this would be through the chute.
It's a great feeling to be introduced coming down that platform. I will tell you that. I'll also mention that
And former President Barack Obama heading to the rotunda platform, not joined by Michelle Obama. She did not also come to Washington for the funeral of Jimmy Carter, just recently celebrating her birthday.
I was just gonna say Barack always looked good when he walked through. He still got that
The
swag. He walked
swag.
on through like, yeah, I'm here.
So that was
He
so
still got that swag.
so
Still got the
how
swag.
so what is the first thing that come to your mind? How do y'all feel about that?
I feel like we don't really know all the reasons why she didn't come, and I think that um, people make so many assumptions that she should have dropped everything that was going on in her life personally to be there. And for what? I understand that some of the previous uh, presidents and their wives were there. But that doesn't mean that she has to be there or she has some obligation to be there. We don't know what all was happening in her world that made her decide that this is not a good time for me to go to Washington, or I can't be there, or this is just not coinciding. And I don't think it's the whole world's business to know exactly or analyze exactly why she wasn't there. And even if she didn't come solely because she felt like, you know what, I cannot get behind this man and what he stands for, I don't want to show any sort of support toward him, that is her prerogative. And I think that
Well,
people just need to respect that and
I
let it
think that
be.
part is absolutely that part is absolutely okay. Um, I'll say what I think in a second too. I don't want to cut you off, but Vina, what's your first feeling about that, Savvy? What do you think when you see that?
I'm looking in that space and I'm seeing nothing that would even make Michelle feel comfortable going there. Okay, Hillary Clinton is not a, what was Bush's wife's name? Was it Laura? Um, yeah, they're all different. And even though these women were first ladies, they were white women. This is a whole dynamic, a whole energy, right? And we can put on and tolerate for a certain amount of time, right? But as a black woman, that just didn't even look appealing to me, right? Barack's the politician. He lives for that. Let me turn it on. Let me do whatever. Let me finagle. Michelle's not even a peopler, right? She's become more of a people person, being in a limelight, but in her heart of hearts, she'd rather not dot dot dot. In a lot of married couples, you got the yin yang, the one that's more sociable and more people oriented, and the other person that really rather be back in the cut. And I really feel like she'd rather be back in the cut. So she's being her true authentic self. Barack know who he married, and he know how much of a sacrifice it was for her to even agree for him to run for office, not once but two terms as a president, and even for his Senate run. So now she's living her, we're done with that, right? Let me go back into my comfortable cocoon. So I'm fine. Did I feel some kind of way seeing him walk up by himself? A little bit. It's like, oh, his wife is not there. A twinge of a snap of a moment. But ultimately, it gets to a point where you have to look out for this and this. And if going into that environment with around all those people was going to be unhealthy for her mental health, then sis, stay home. It's a moment in time, and I think that people are making it more than what it
Then
really
what
needed to be.
hmm
I'm here to make it more than what it is because it
I'm sure.
it was something. It was okay. So I respect what you both said. I wanted to feel what the first thoughts to come to your mind, how you felt about it. And you guys are kind of coming at it from a place that's interesting. So, obviously you guys are talking about the environment, where she would have been being there. Now, so let me say this. Barack walking alone, the way I saw it as a man, and I don't know if it's a man woman thing because I'm sure that there's women who may feel like how I feel and men who may feel how y'all feel. So I felt like when I saw Barack walking by himself, I felt like it really stood out and it made it look like I know that she probably didn't want to be in that space and didn't want to go. And we can get into the reasons because she spoke about it recently on her podcast. But I think her not going showed a lack of solidarity for the Obama legacy, right? So going back to 2008 to me, and again, I'll preface this by saying that she doesn't owe anybody anything. I do understand that as an individual, you can do whatever you want. I do get it. But the thought to me is like, what does she owe the legacy of anything? You're the black first lady in the country's history. I mean, what her and Barack did is legendary, just to get where they got and what it meant for black people, men, women, children alike, for them to see someone that looked like them in the White House. I think there's a legacy there that's important. So I guess my thought is that is it where you personally now has she gotten to a place now personally where her own feelings is more important than the legacy? You know what I'm saying? Like, how important is the legacy? When I see him walking alone, I thought about. I said, well, God knows, Laura Bush is not a politician, but she still walked out with her husband. Hillary Clinton, we all know everything she's been through. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would almost say to yourself, well, if anybody didn't show up, you might not have been surprised that Bill Clinton was walking by himself, but she was still there, So for me, I kind of looked and I said, well, I get the fact that she's an individual, but when it came to, and I'm gonna be candid about another part of how I felt. I felt like, and one of the reasons why I want to touch on this, I felt like for black men and black women, it kind of showed this level of non-solidarity, and I felt like it. I'm wondering, I'm wondering what underlying messages being sent for women. You know what I'm saying? If any, right? So I looked at it a little bit deeper from that point, and I said to myself, I said, "Wow, there's a legacy to be preserved. How important is that, or is it the hell with it now?" So, maybe she's gotten to a point now after being out of the White House since 2016 that she's evolving to a point where she's like, you know what, I really don't care about that. I'm I'm really focused on me. So, what do y'all think
The
about?
legacy is the legacy is there. No matter it don't matter what else they do right now. That legacy is there. He will always be the first black president. They will always be the first black family to be in the White House, not one but two terms with no scandals. The legacy is there. she don't have to do anything else, and that legacy will remain intact. Now, as far as with the black man woman dynamic, I mean, he stood loud and proud on his own, and he was there holding it down, and that could be in essence a way of protecting her. Like, you know what, babe, stay home. We're good. Which I'm sure he wasn't. He probably would have rather she was there.
Right.
I'm not
I
even
was
gonna
gonna say like,
bullshit with that.
nah.
But I mean, yeah, she's probably there to protect her legacy. I mean, her mental health. And the thing is, what did people say about Laura Bush?
What did they
And
say?
nobody would have
Horrible.
even talked about Hillary until she was running for office. But
Mhm.
these women, they're different. And for these white women who were first ladies, white women are protected always in some way, shape, or form.